The New England Patriots once again got the ultimate treat by playing a trick on yet another Jets quarterback. But is it enough to carry them to contention in the AFC East? Stay tuned. You're about to be locked into the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage, but also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to download, subscribe, and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your audio podcasts. Folks, it is Victory Monday, and thank you again for joining us on this Victory Monday. Here with me to savor the victory for the New England Patriots is the only man with his very own branded hashtag. Might be Victory Monday, it might be Halloween, but it is ultimately Locked On Murph Monday. And my good friend, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2Gsports.com, joins me here today. Thank you for joining me in friendship. Thank you for coming to me today to help savor this victory, Don Murph.
Get down, boogie, oogie, oogie. Get down, boogie. God, what a great day! This is my we beat the Jets for the 13th straight time face, ladies and gentlemen. It was not pretty. It was not one for the archives. But I will take it after Monday's debacle. Splitting the week is something that I'll go home happy with, and was quite happy with at the end of the day yesterday.
Absolutely, and I think at the end of the day, all New England Patriots fans were. Look, without any question, Monday night's game against the Bears fell short of everyone's expectations. And There's nothing wrong with saying that. If you're a Patriots fan, you expected them to come in and take it to the Chicago Bears, who were not considered a juggernaut on either side of the ball. Patriots made them look that way. And this is something that did not sit well with Pats fans. It didn't sit well with the media. And it did not sit well, most importantly, with Bill Belichick and those 53 guys sitting in that locker room. You saw a much more crisp effort. You saw a much more complete effort. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what happens. When this team starts to click, you start to see all of the good stuff that this team can do. And they'll do it very, very well, without any question. Murph, yesterday, the New England Patriots offensively really brought, I think, a level of urgency. And I think they brought a level of, I don't want to say desperation, because there was plenty wrong on the offensive side of the ball yesterday that the Patriots still need to correct. But overall, I thought that they ran much more efficiently. And we're going to talk a little bit about Mac Jones in just a moment, folks, because, quite honestly, the quarterback position is the focal point. It deserves its own segment on this show. We will talk about that. But I don't want to lose sight of all of the offensive improvements and all of the offensive effort that was put out yesterday in just a discussion on Mac Jones. When you look at this offense, Murph, what stood out to you yesterday? What really popped as an element that looks like it could be that which the New England Patriots hang their hat going into the latter part of the season? And why was it Ramondre Stevenson?
Yeah, it was. This man, Ramondre, was able to do yesterday was nothing short of fantastic. He turned holes into 15-yard gains. He turned a lack of holes into positive yardage plays every time he touched the ball on Sunday, with the exception of a couple of plays trying to get to the outside on the left-hand side of the ball, which really concerned me. But other than that, every time he touched the ball, whether it was catching out of the backfield or taking a handoff, a draw play, it was brilliance. This man gets better every week, and he seems to do it in spite of an offensive line that is getting worse every week.
Yeah, and I mean, we're definitely going to talk about that in just a moment because, again, folks, we don't want to throw laurels at the
No.
the feet of the New England Patriots offense and say, "Oh, all is fixed," and this team came out.
Yeah.
They relied on 15 points from the leg of Nick Folk, who was, again,
Right.
masterful yesterday. Just absolutely deserves all the credit he's getting and then some. But when you look at what this team does well now and how Ramondre is able to take the deficiencies that you saw on the offensive line and turn it into a 14-yard play right off the bat, the Patriots' first offensive possession, he gets the ball rolling, and that really sets the tone for that entire drive. Patriots had to settle again for 3 on that drive, but Ramondre got them into a position where they can start competing for red zone hits. Longest play of the day up until that point, the 35-yard line up to the Jets' 27-yard line. Where Jones connects with Tyquan Thornton, and they follow it up with a strike to Jacoby Myers, and that's the touchdown drive that I'm talking about to begin the third quarter. Again, Ramondre Stevenson is the catalyst. And if you look at the play sheet and you look at how involved he was in every single play, you understand why he's getting all of the accolades. I had someone come to me that's not really familiar with the Patriots, that's looking at the stat sheet and going, "This guy's getting absolutely, deified in New England this morning for his performance." I looked at the stat sheet: 71 yards, 16 carries. Yeah, decent game. Doesn't look like it's going to be blockbuster, but that doesn't tell the whole story about what this kid did.
The man had 145 yards, I think, or close to that in total yards from scrimmage yesterday. The blocking that he did in the backfield was stellar. I didn't see him miss a block yesterday. He was helping Chip on the outside. What he was able to do, and the bite that was given by the Jets, second level on every play action pass was just phenomenal. It shows the respect that he's now garnering throughout the NFL in film rooms right now. This week, they're going to be going and look at what Ramondre can do. We can't allow this to happen, and that opens up so much more for everybody else. The day that Jacoby Myers had yesterday had everything to do with Ramondre Stevenson and what he was doing, because people had to spend and take so much care into not letting him burn them.
Absolutely, without any question. And look, as much as I love Damian Harris, and I do, and I have enjoyed covering him, and I continue to enjoy his enthusiasm, and this kid can still run. There is no question about it. I mean, I don't want to make it seem like we're just putting Damian on the shelf and say, "Oh, well, we found this guy now, and we don't need Damian anymore, and he's superfluous." No, this is a wealth of riches the Patriots need to ride this year, especially with the offensive sputters that they've had. And we're going to get to those in just a second. But Stevenson right now has definitely proven that he can be that every down back. And if anybody had any doubts about it, I encourage them to go back and take a look at some of our post-draft shows, Murph. You and I were two of the few that really, really touted this kid as a potential feature back for the New England Patriots. And it's great to see it coming to fruition. And I, for one, am glad to see him do that. But again, I don't think we'd be doing our job unless we mentioned the difficulties that the Patriots had yesterday on offense. And again, folks, we will get to Mac Jones in just a moment, but the O-line continues their struggles. When you're called out by Bill Belichick in halftime comments, that is not a good sign. And he specifically called out the tackle position yesterday. You don't see Bill do that very often mid-game. You really don't see him do that very often at all. Bill is not someone to go out and call out specific positions, but he did that yesterday. Shows you the level of frustration that he had.
Marcus Cannon looks Go ahead. Marcus Cannon looks every bit his age right now. He looks every bit as rusty as you can get when you ask more. He gave up the pressure to Bryce Huff on that pick that Mac Jones threw. Cannon saw the bulk of the action in place of Isaiah Wynn, who ended up kicking back inside to the guard. And Wynn gave up a sack on his first snap of the game. No matter who's playing right tackle right now, it does not look good. No, it does not look good, and it needs to to get cleaned up. Wynn ended up replacing Cole Strange at left guard in the second half. Strange just had his worst game as a professional. He could not do anything on the field right. I don't know what he woke up with in his head, but he couldn't get it out of it. And sometimes this happens. Sometimes your feet just don't work. They just don't do what you want them to do. And your hands just don't hit the places that you want them. Now, granted, that he was going up against what I think is one of the better defensive lines right now in the AFC East, bar none. Defensive lines, bar none. And he's a rookie, and there's growing pains. But this most of the problems that you can put on this team yesterday and most of the problems that you can put on this team this year in every loss that they've had has been on the offensive line and these guys not clicking and not working well together. The absence of David Andrews yesterday was humongous. It was monstrous. All right. It is, you cannot take a man like him out of the lineup and just plug anybody else in there and have the same kind of protection and the same kind of leadership that you need out of the center position. And they just didn't get it yesterday.
No, they didn't. There's no question about it. And, with all due respect to James Ferentz, who was put in a very difficult position, you come in, you have to take over not just for a former Pro Bowl center who knows his position as well as anyone in the league, but also a team captain, a spiritual leader, an inspiration to those guys where things are getting down. He knows how to keep that line in line. You saw them moving around yesterday and not really having too much continuity. That has a lot to do with it. And look, I know Strange definitely had a rough game, and I'm not excusing it. When you're going up against Quinnen Williams, that does excuse a little bit. You're going to take some losses there. And so I don't want to pile on the kid too much, but I agree with everything that you said. You need to be in the game. You're a pro now.
Right.
And this is something, and you're getting into the meaty part of the season right now where your team needs you to execute blocks. They need you to be in the right position. They need you to help win the battles or at least give the effort that's going to inspire your teammates to keep giving the effort, not giving up on plays. I don't think it's an effort problem with Cole. I think it might be the latter, the former of the two, but at the same time.
Yeah, it's a growth problem. Okay, it's who he was going up against yesterday, and quite frankly, it's a coaching problem. He's not getting. He's not. Those tablets, boys and girls, are not just for quarterbacks. All right, go over there, sit down with your coach, take a look at the tablet, and your coaches should be able to fix what they see is wrong because they've seen what's wrong. I saw what was wrong. How could they not? The problem is that his offensive line coach is out there calling plays while you're getting sat down, and he's not over there to work with you. Now when the defense is on the field, he should be over there giving you this, that, and the other thing to look at. But it just hasn't happened. I really think that Matt Patricia. We'll talk more about this with play calling later, but he's not within his element as to in-game adjustments that he needs to help these guys, especially the youngsters, make on the offensive line because he's calling plays. And when they're pulled out and somebody else rotates in, like Wynn gets put in at guard yesterday, he's not over there working with you, and that needs to happen more.
Absolutely. And play calling is going to be a thrust of an argument, or I should say a discussion. I don't think we're going to argue on this point, but who knows? Maybe we will. It's Halloween, but we're gonna throw everything in the mix and see what happens. But we will discuss play calling when it comes to the performance of Mac Jones and whether or not it was a help or a hindrance. I'm going back and forth on this a little bit, but I'm going to get Murph's take on it in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp, Therapy Online. Folks, we live in complex times, and whether it be emotional stress, financial stress, health-related stress, or social stress, trying therapy can help you unload that stress and move forward in gaining emotional healing. Unfortunately, folks, life does not come with a user manual, so when it's not working for you, it is normal to feel stuck. And BetterHelp makes it easier to get started and help you feel unstuck and help you feel your best. As the world's largest therapy service, they've matched millions of people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. All the benefits of in-person therapy, plus it's more convenient, more accessible, and more affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist, and if things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist at any time. It could not be simpler, and the result can be life-changing, and life-changing in a positive way. Get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off of your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Patriots fans, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2GSports.com joining me here today, breaking down the Patriots' 22-17 victory over the over the New York Jets. And folks, we are just scratching the surface when it comes to what the Patriots did on Sunday that they didn't do last Monday. And one of the things, one of the most vast improvements that we've seen, Murph, was the defensive performance. And I think you and I were talking offline. It starts with effort. Patriots looked more comfortable up front. They looked more mobile in the middle part of the defense, and they looked a little bit more locked down in the secondary. So when you take a look at this defensive unit, what did you see differently in the New England Patriots on Sunday that they didn't necessarily execute on Monday?
All right, effort is a good word. A sense of urgency. These guys knew that they couldn't come out and put up another game like they did the other night. I thought Jedrick Wise had a fantastic game on Sunday. He did not have a great game on Monday. He had one of those, excuse me, one of those games where you're not going to see what he was able to do. And this is what they did. A lot of players put up games yesterday that you're going to not see in the stat box. You're not going to see the results in sacks or in tackles. What they did was, especially up front, was pressure the passer, which was one of my keys that was turned to get pressure on this kid. Wise finished with just one tackle and a batted pass, but he was in Wilson's face all day long. Another Adrian Phillips had a fantastic game. The Patriots safeties were put in kind of a bind this week because of injuries. But I thought he did a fantastic job. Duggar was out. McCourty stepped up really well, and he had 2 interceptions. But Phillips was all over the field on Sunday. He had a big pass breakup early in an early end zone. But it comes down to effort, being in the right place at the right time, and not getting burned. I think the Patriots got burned for like one big chunk play down the field in the first half. Do you remember that one? Mac was scrambling around like a nut, and I forget who bit on the double move, but Junior was wide open, and there was a couple of stat padding plays, but other than that, the defense showed up on Sunday. The effort was there. They filled their gaps. They kept what they did this week was keep Wilson in front of them and behind the line of scrimmage, and not let him do anything with his legs, which Fields was able to do to move the chains last week.
Yeah, without any question. I'm so glad that you mentioned Phillips, because very few things give me the opportunity to tweet during games lately, and that was one I could not resist. That was a big play. That was a big drive for the New York Jets. Big play from Zach Wilson to Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
A lot was clicking on that, and for Adrian Phillips to have not just
there are a lot of Jets fans chirping.
Yeah, exactly. And not just have the presence on the field in order to make the play, but also physically be in position, knowing that he's been limited all week long with a shoulder injury in practice. Absolutely impressive. He continues to prove his worth, and he continues to make me look good. He's one of those guys that I absolutely could not stop gushing over when the Patriots got him, because I knew the type of player he was going to be here in this system, having covered him in Los Angeles. And he's exceeded my expectations, and I'm so glad that the Patriots have him on their team. But
Yep.
you got to give a lot of love to Devin McCourty, 6 total tackles, 2
Right.
interceptions. Still proving that the captain's got a lot left in the tank. This is not a symbolic throwing out there of a player.
Yeah.
He's still got the ability to take over a game when he needs to. He's not going to do it every game, and you're not going to see that type of output from him consistently over and over again because, again, just Murph, we know this from personal experience. The body breaks down when you get to a certain age, so he's going to continue to have those struggles at times. But Devin is such a smart player and such a heads-up player.
He
and
really
you saw
is.
that yesterday.
And it got on me. I was listening to Zach Wilson's press conference after, when he was at the podium after the game, and to say, to take blame for the interceptions that he threw yesterday was a nice thing to say. But to go out and say that it was nothing that the Patriots did to cause those was I don't know, kind of talking out of his backside.
Yeah, little green sourness coming
Yeah.
from the
a little sour grapes.
But don't forget, Murph, we got those guys in 2 weeks. If you don't think that's going to be plastered all over the locker room after the bye week, Zach, what are you doing? What are you doing? You've angered the great Belichickian ghost over there in Foxborough. And even though today's Halloween, Bill Belichick's going to have some spookiness in store for him when they visit in just a couple of weeks here in New England.
I was looking. I did. I thought this was a perfect opportunity for the Jets to establish themselves as something. Saleh talked all week long about the receipts that he kept from last year's game. I hope he keeps a couple from this week's game, and it plays out, and he ends up paying the bill again in a couple of weeks.
Bottom line, Murph, what it comes right down to, when you're a Jet all the way.
Jet all the way.
Patriots 13 straight against the Jets, and Bill Belichick's morning breakfast tasted just that much sweeter this morning, knowing that victory number 325, bringing him closer to the 347 held by Don Shula, happened against the Jets. Jets. There's a little extra spring in Bill Belichick's step this morning, knowing that he won't admit it, but he'll definitely see it, and a tip of the cap and a nod to the gods to Bill Belichick on that, because that is a phenomenal accomplishment, and he deserves all the credit in the world for that. But Murph, bottom line, as well as I do that this one is going to be scrutinized because of the quarterback position. And in just a moment, folks, Murph and I are going to take this game wrap-up episode home with a little discussion on Mac Jones. Did Mac really do enough to win back the job for good, or did he do enough just not to lose it right now? Murph and I are going to get on that and talk about how all of the rest of the Patriots' offensive environment around him might be affecting this guy a little bit more than we know. All that and more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, Murph, we always savor the milestone moments in life. We just talked about one. Bill Belichick celebrating big milestone, second all-time winningest coach in the history of the NFL. Today's Halloween. Some people, take that as, a very, milestone moment in their life, and they love dressing up and spending time with the kids, taking kids trick-or-treating. Well, we have good friends over here at Locked On Network that really love to help you commemorate those life's special moments. And whether you're looking to pop the question or have a milestone to celebrate or want to let your love sparkle, Blue Nile can help you make your celebrations even more memorable. As the original online jeweler, Blue Nile offers the largest selection of independently graded diamonds and pieces priced significantly below traditional retailers. If you're having trouble choosing, Blue Nile has a jewelry expert on hand 24/7. They're available by phone or by chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Shop stress-free with Blue Nile's 100% satisfaction guarantee. All Blue Nile orders are insured and shipped for free in discreet packaging, and they also offer overnight shipping if you're in a rush. Make your moment sparkle with Blue Nile. Go to BlueNile.com and use promo code LOCKEDON to save $50 on your purchase of $500 or more. That's BlueNile.com, code LOCKEDON to save $50 on your purchase of $500 or more. BlueNile.com, code LOCKEDON. Patriots fans, the legend himself, the dancing destroyer, the green king of sting, the monster master of disaster, mashing all over the place on this Halloween episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast. Thomas Murphy of E2Gsports.com, helping me break down the New England Patriots 22-17 victory over the New York Jets. And Murph, obviously all eyes were going to be on Mac Jones in this one, whether we accepted it or whether we didn't. No matter what the situation was, we knew that the Patriots were going to be heavily scrutinized when it came to the quarterback position. Mac had I guess the best way to put it is a pedestrian stat line. I don't want to sit here and say that he blew the doors off the joint. I don't want to sit here and say that he had a terrible game. I thought he was serviceable. I thought he did a fairly decent job coming back. 24 of 35, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Did go the complete game effort. I know that was a question of a lot of people, but there are still issues with decision making. I know the interception, the pick six, got called back, but that was ill-advised. Mac took that on himself after the game. I guess the question on everybody's mind right now is, did Mac Jones do enough yesterday to prove that he is still the full-time, undisputed starter of this team that just needs a little work? Or is there a situation where he's kind of just doing enough to hold on to the job, and that leash may be getting a little bit tighter with Bailey Zappi waiting in the wings?
No, I don't think that leash is getting tighter. Folks, we all saw what Bailey Zappi is last week, okay, when after Mac was pulled. The interception was bad. It was a route that could have gone either way, and the quarterback was on one page and the receiver was on the other, and that's what ended up happening. If Robert Saleh can complain all he wants by being told that you hit him too hard, Junior launched and into the back of Mac Jones's head and just literally launched himself off the frickin' ground. He could have hit him anywhere in the back, in the ass, anywhere. But he chose to hit him in the head, and that's what happens. That you're going to get that flag in today's NFL. You're going to get that flag in last year's NFL. You can't hit a quarterback in the head, especially with your helmet. So I don't want to hear anything more about that. Yeah, it was a bad throw. It was a terrible read. The guys weren't on the same page, and luckily it didn't. The Patriots came out in the second half and scored on their opening drive. Mac threw a nice touchdown on a 4th and 1 play to Myers to get it, and Myers ended up getting into the end zone. No, I don't think Mac did anything to hurt himself yesterday. The man was sacked 6 times. I don't know how much, if you have the pressure numbers in front of you. When there's a clean pocket, he does well. You give him room to step up, and he couldn't. Ferenc gave him no room to step up yesterday into almost any throw. And I will. I grade centers a lot harder than most people do. What Mac has been able to accomplish, you have to consider what happened last week as an extension of the preseason for Mac. And yesterday was probably game 1. After 4 weeks off, even throwing in practice in shells and shorts is not the same thing, folks. It's not. The speed just isn't the same. Things will get better. Things will work themselves out. The play calling got a bit better inside and outside the 20s, in between the 20s. What happened in the 20s really bugged me. It really did. It bothered me that after a turnover, they didn't go for it at all. I thought they settled for threes. They let Nick Folk be the hero once again when they could have opened things up a bit more for Mac and allowed him to reestablish himself, his game, and his arm.
That's a good question. And that's the question I think on everybody's mind. And not to put you on the hot seat, but I'm going to put that question to you. Is this a matter of the fact that they just don't trust him, or is this a matter of the fact that they're really probably not trustworthy of their own play calling at this point?
No, I think they're not trustworthy of the offensive line. I'm going to keep going back to Mother. The play on the 4th and 1 at the New York 21 late in the first half. They were down 10-3. Bill decided to go for the 3 points there when he should have gone for the 3 points and not the touchdown earlier. That bothered me. The Patriots didn't convert after faking that handoff out of the shotgun. Mac tried doing so. I don't know what that play call was. I really don't. It was almost like Mac was trying to be a read option guy, and he rolled to his left, and then he threw to Jacoby Myers, who was covered by 17 different Jets.
Yeah.
That was a terrible play call. That was not on Mac Jones. He might have been able to switch out of it, but once he was there, it was awful. We talked about the Mac's pick, and then what happened after that. With getting the ball back because of another egregious freaking hit on a Patriot, but instead of it was called back thanks to the roughing the passer call. So, they didn't take – they took an extremely conservative path when they didn't need to, and that really bothered me. That did. And I don't – but honestly, just to circle back to your original question, I don't think it was a lack of confidence in Mac. I thought it was a lack of confidence in Mac being able to stay clean and getting that third Mississippi before he was able to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, great point. I've been going back and forth on this as well. I thought maybe the play calling yesterday, and I said this post game in our postcast here on Locked On Patriots, where Mac looked like maybe he was the victim of maybe too conservative of a play calling game for him. I went back and looked at it, and I said, well, at some point, the players have to start just converting what is being called, even if there's a difficulty there or anything like that. You have to put a little bit more onus on the player at that point. But getting a fresh set of eyes and going back to it this morning before we hit the microphone together, I'm very much in sync with what you've described. I think it was a situation where the New England Patriots just did not feel all that comfortable in Mac Jones getting the time he needed to execute what he needed. They knew that there were a lot of deficiencies on the offensive line. They faced a very, very good defensive front with the Jets yesterday, without any question. Those guys can get after it. And they've got the secondary to be able to sell out, to do what they need to do, knowing that the secondary can back them up if they miss a tackle or they get beat on a blocking assignment. It is a situation where if you have a complete defense at 3 levels, it allows you to do so much. And the Patriots' offensive line just couldn't match their intensity, match their level yesterday. And for them to come out with a 22-17 victory is impressive in that regard. But I think it comes back to Bill Belichick's comments at halftime. The fact that he called out the tackle position, went out of his way to say that Mac Jones has not had time to be comfortable all game long. That's on the offensive line, and that has to be shored up. That has to be taken care of, and you have to think that the Patriots will do what they need to make sure that is indeed the case.
Just peeking at my notes, this in a nutshell shows how terribly conservative the play calling got. Marcus Jones's 32-yard punt return in the third quarter, that it was wasted. The guys didn't gain any net yards after that, and they ended up settling for a 45-yard field goal. All right, that can't happen. That can't happen when this kid sets you up at the 28, 27-yard line. Yeah. Go for it. Take one shot into the end zone there, please. Yeah. It's confounding, but it does. It goes back to how this line was playing and how much pressure Mac was under the entire game. The offensive line needs to get right before next week.
Yeah, without any question. And they will. And, well, we hope they will, but they're going to be working on getting right all week long in practice. And that process begins when the Patriots next take the field on Wednesday. But they will continue to savor this one for a little while, and the trick-or-treating might be a little sweeter in New England Patriots fans' households this week after the 22-17 victory over the Jets. Folks, it is also trade deadline week, and based on that, we have a special treat for you tomorrow. Our good friend and Patriots salary cap guru Miguel Benzon will be joining me to break down all of the Patriots financials. Did they make a move? Did they not make a move? And what role did finance play in all of this? We're going to be talking about that and so much more as we continue to break down the victory over the Jets and also take an early look and start to focus our attention on the Horseshoe and the Indianapolis Colts. Murph, what can I say? I thank you so much for joining me today, lending your wisdom and counsel, helping to break down a Victory Monday, and that Victory Monday is always a little sweeter when it's against the Jets. Before I let you go today, my friend, please let everyone know where they can find you, your great work, all the great stuff that you're doing for the World Series right now, and more, my friend. Please.
Yeah, I've got a nice little article up there about the Astros and how they got back to Philadelphia, tied up 1-1 over there at e2gsports.com. Please go check that out. Tomorrow, Claire, Steve, and I will be back for another One Patriots Place. It's just going to be the three amigos this week. We decided, every once in a while we like to throw out there, just the three of us and see how that goes. People really seem to like it when we get to concentrate and give most of our opinions on what's going on and not necessarily focus on a guest. So you get that one this week. The week after that, we'll be back with Phil A. Perry. We'll be stopping in the following Wednesday because it's really hard to get guys on a Tuesday to come in. You guys are all up there sticking microphones in people's faces. And, of course, I'll be hitting on anything else. I'm going to start my Red Sox series on what they need to do this offseason. And you'll be able to start reading that after the World Series, of course. And you can follow me on the Bird app at tmurph207 for anything else that might pop up and tickle my fancy that I decide to write about.
Absolutely. And folks, regardless of whether Murph is putting pen to paper, he's putting voice to microphone, no matter what the man does, definitely check it out because it's always going to be entertaining, but most importantly, it's going to be spot on and informative. And we also thank Murph once again for joining us here on Locked On Patriots, but we thank you for taking time out of your day to make Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Now that you've made us your first listen, make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On Sports Today. All of the latest information across the entire professional sports landscape, including college as well, and they do it in less than 30 minutes, including the take of the day. So be sure to download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Sports Today wherever you get your podcasts. On behalf of the legendary Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate. Please continue to stay safe, stay well. If you're out there enjoying the Halloween day today, please do so responsibly and please do so safely, folks, and definitely enjoy. On behalf of Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate. Once again, have a great day, everyone.
I got a rock.